After the Second World War, every country of Eastern Europe, from Poland and Czechoslovakia to Hungary and part of Berlin, fell under the control of communism. While Western countries were producing fancy cars, the people of the Eastern Bloc were poorer, which is why cars sold around here were simpler and cheaper. You Western people may not be familiar with these cars, so let me show you what models were popular on our streets. VAZ 2101 or 2103. The VAZ 2101 and 2103 were very common cars, also known as a LADA or Zhiguli. They were sold with 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 and also 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engines. Few know that you were able to start this thing with a crank. There were two of them owned by my family, a white 1200 and a green 1500 variant. Škoda 1000 MB. The 1000 MB, here commonly known as MBčka, is the car which initiated the popularity of Škoda models around here. From this Škoda, all upcoming ones shared the rear engine, rear-wheel drive layout until the Favorite came along. They had the frunk, the front boot, and some extra space behind the rear seats. Trabant 601. They say you only needed two people for the production of a Trabant, one who cuts and one who glues, as it was basically entirely made of plastic. This is why they call it BMW, as it stands for Bakelite Motorwagen. The Trabant came from Eastern Germany, and like all cars from this part of the world at its time, it had a two-stroke engine. Warborg 353. The Warborg has a very different story than the Trabant. It had almost twice as large an engine and incomparably more passenger and luggage room. It was also financially a better option compared to the smaller Soviet vehicles, outperforming them in terms of performance, space, fuel economy, and so on. Fiat 126, more commonly known as Polski Fiat 126P or Maluch, this was the tiniest car to ever appear on our roads. Despite this minor detail, many had no problem carrying 4 people in this, plus luggage in the front, on the roof and the back of the car, and went for a holiday. Škoda 130, 135 and 136. Skipping a couple of years since the 1000 MB, the Škoda 130 was the last of its kind to be rear-engined and rear-wheel drive. I remember a time not so long ago when they were still quite popular on the roads. Now, as with the others on this list, nice examples are keeping their values and slowly going up. Serena 105. The Serena 105 was a Polish creation made in Warsaw, and that's the country where it was most popular, with tens of thousands built over almost 3 decades. They were powered by 2-stroke 2 and 3-cylinder engines and sold as small coupes, pickups and vans. Old Sit. Now imagine the least reliable car you know, and this rebranded Romanian Citroen Visa was even worse. They say that it began to rust on the production line and it broke down whenever it wanted. Despite this, it was still a favorite car around here. GAZ-24 Volga. The Volga was definitely not a people's car. It was more common in the hands of a manager or as a police car. It was also used by the KGB, for which a V8 variant was made. Normally they had a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. The Volga was quite a fast car, as it could flat out do 120 miles per hour. Although a piece of heavy cast iron was an essential modification to keep the rear end stable. Tatra 603. And while Volga was the manager's car, the Tata 603 was a limousine for directors, politicians and other such people in high positions. The 603 was only made with a V8 and was fairly quick, but as it was a rear-engine rear-wheel drive, it was tricky to drive, similarly to the first Porsche 911s. Afterwards, a more modern-looking 613 took its place and continued production. Other honorable mentions would be Škoda 100, Škoda 110, Škoda 105, Škoda 120, Škoda 125, Škoda 110R, Škoda Garde, Škoda Rapide, and Dacia 1300.